The afternoon sun hung low over the bustling city streets, its golden glow bouncing off the polished windows of passing cars and tall glass towers. People moved quickly, each consumed by their own worlds, hardly noticing the small figure sitting on the cold pavement near the corner of Rose Market. She was thin, her clothes worn and dusty, her hair tangled from nights spent under the open sky. Yet her eyes, those large, expressive eyes, held a rare sharpness, as if they carried secrets about life that the world above her never paused long enough to hear. That was when a sleek black car pulled up, its engine humming like quiet authority, and out stepped a man whose presence seemed to bend the space around him. Arthur Hale, one of the richest men in the country, known not only for his wealth but for his stubbornness, his pride, and his unshakable belief that nothing in the world could surprise him anymore. But that belief was about to shatter the moment the little beggar girl whispered the words that froze him mid-step. "Don't eat that," backhand index pointing right. "If you believe in kindness, second chances, and humanity, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe right now. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts." Arthur paused, startled by the urgency in her voice. In his hand, he held a perfectly wrapped pastry he had just purchased on his walk. At first glance, there was nothing wrong with it. It looked fresh, warm, inviting. The kind of treat someone like him could buy without a second thought. The kind of treat someone like her could only dream of tasting. But there was something in her voice, fear, desperation, sincerity, that made him look at her twice. He had walked past dozens of beggars in his life, never stopping, never listening. Yet this time, something about her trembling tone pierced through the shield of indifference he'd worn for years. She pointed weakly toward the pastry, her voice cracking as she explained that moments earlier she had seen a group of boys tampering with the bag in the bakery, laughing as they sprinkled something strange into one of the pastries, planning to make a viral prank video targeting a rich customer. She didn't know what those boys had put into the food, but she had seen enough cruelty in her short life to sense danger immediately. For a moment, Arthur felt a flicker of disbelief. His pride pushed him to shrug it off. After all, who was she? Just a child living on the streets. But something deeper, quieter, almost forgotten inside him urged him to take a closer look. When he carefully peeled the pastry open, he froze. Hidden beneath the layers of dough were tiny shards of glass, almost invisible, but deadly. His heart pounded faster. He imagined what would have happened if he had taken a bite. The pain, the damage, the humiliation of falling victim to a childish prank. Shock washed over him, followed instantly by a wave of gratitude toward the girl who had saved him. She shouldn't have cared. She owed him nothing. Yet she had spoken up. As he looked at her, he realized how fragile she truly appeared. Her small hands trembled from hunger, and her lips were cracked. The world had been cruel to her, and yet she acted with a kindness that most people with everything never bothered to show. Arthur bent down, gently asking her how long she had been out here, how she survived, and who she belonged to. She lowered her head and explained that she had no one. Her mother had died years ago, and she had been fending for herself ever since. Her voice was hollow yet strong, shaped by hardship. She told him she warned him not because she expected anything in return, but because she had seen too much suffering to let more happen, especially when she could stop it. The revelation struck Arthur deeper than he expected. Memories he had buried for years resurfaced, memories of his own childhood, growing up poor, struggling alongside a mother who worked more than her body could bear. He had spent years running from that past, building walls of money and power around the fragile truth of where he came from. But this little girl, with her courageous heart, cracked through those walls with just one warning. Something inside him shifted. He offered her food, real food, warm food, and watched tears fill her eyes before she accepted. As she ate quietly, savoring each bite as if it were the rarest treasure, he sat beside her on the curb. People passing by stared in shock, this billionaire sitting next to a homeless girl, but for the first time in years, he didn't care. For the first time, he felt human again. He listened to her stories, stories of nights without shelter, days without meals, and moments where she feared she wouldn't survive. He felt anger toward the world, toward society, toward himself for never noticing the invisible lives that breathed around him. Moved by an instinct he hadn't felt in decades, Arthur made a decision. He took the girl with him, not out of pity, but out of profound respect. He ensured she had medical care, clean clothes, a safe place to stay. Days turned into weeks, and he found himself visiting her often. She slowly transformed, her cheeks filling out, her hair shining, her eyes glowing with hope instead of fear. The more time he spent with her, the more he realized she had given him something priceless, a second chance at being the kind of man he once promised himself he would be. He later tracked down the bakery pranksters with the help of authorities, ensuring no one else would be harmed by their recklessness. But the bigger change happened inside him. The girl's bravery inspired him to start a foundation for homeless children, offering food, education, and shelter. The first child registered was the little girl who had saved him, the girl he now considered a part of his family, and years later, when she stood on a stage at a fundraising event, wearing a clean dress, smiling with pride, she shared the story of the day she saved a stranger's life. Arthur watched from the front row with tears in his eyes. That day, she didn't just save his life. She saved the humanity he had lost along the way. Red Heart, if this story touched your heart even a little, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps these emotional stories reach more people. Memo special request, comment, kindness lives forever. If you felt the change in this story, let me know. If you want prompts, SEO tags, thumbnails, or anything else.